Hello, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to Game 13 of the Real Racquetball Show. I want to thank you for taking time to watch the show, whether it's live or you're watching it recorded. Either one, I appreciate you watching the show. We have some really good topics for you, some good things to talk about that I think everyone will find interesting. We've got some great guests. We have a lot of people in the green room that are waiting to come on and talk about some really interesting topics. So we really hope you enjoy it. I want to wish everybody a happy National Racquetball Month. Hopefully you're celebrating it on a court or out on a court outside in the beautiful sunshine. I believe it's about 6 below zero here in the Kansas City area, and we're supposed to get down to 13 below tonight as the actual temperature. So hopefully those of you that are in some sunshine are enjoying it, getting to play some outdoor racquetball. I'm really miss the sun right now. It's been cloudy and snowy for several days, so we're looking forward to that. If you like the show, share the link. We want to get as many people around knowing it as possible. We've started really pushing it out to several new Facebook groups. Racquetball, Handball, Paddleball is one of the newer ones, and we have a real good reason why we're pushing out to that community. We'll talk a little bit more here in a bit. I want to welcome Connor Shane into the show. As you know, he's Director of National Events.
Hey, Mike.
Welcome to the show, Connor.
What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, man, we're getting a big old cold front in Colorado, so I'm kind of upset about it. Negative 17 last night. So,
oh my.
No thanks. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it'll warm up soon enough. Well, we'll get to be outside.
I agree.
So let's just dive right in. We've got a lot of things to go, and as you know, we're trying to keep the show to our normal 30-minute time frame. So let's jump in. Unfortunately, we're going to start off with some sad news, not uncommon, probably not a surprise to anybody. So I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, if those of you that might have followed the USA Racquetball webpage, just about 2 or 3 minutes ago, we saw the post on the carousel that 2021 National Intercollegiates is canceled. So not news to a lot of people. It's not feasible. We did already let the states know, and then our events committee knows, and then our board knows as well. But for the most part, here's the announcement to the membership. It became very complicated to try and make this event happen. As many of you know, the event happens on a university campus. Yeah. And those have been probably one of 3, maybe, I think, major types of facilities that I'm having the most trouble with in terms of just COVID regulations. And what we're seeing really is that some of the universities came back with, we did a little bit of a survey for the Collegiate Council. They were huge in the feedback for this. And over half of them had no knowledge of whether or not their athletes could travel. So the universities were not giving them direction. They either said that you cannot travel, or I guess I had 2 universities that said the only sports that can travel are basketball and football. Yeah. So obviously that kind of bugs us, but at the same time, it's hard to host an event with only one of our universities, or 2 of them.
Yeah, it's really a shame. Hopefully we're getting to the end of this episode where we have to cancel events and those type of things. And I know we've got some news coming out in the next week or so about some events we're going to be putting on. But we really want to thank the Collegiate Council for the work they did to try and help us come to this conclusion. But
I agree. And it was, the conversations back and forth between them all was so responsive. It made everything so much easier. But it was a very much group decision that this event is just really not feasible. But I am working with the council now to find some way to make, to honor and recognize those graduating seniors. As you know, those seniors, this would be their best one.
Yeah, that's really one of the really sad parts about it is the students and the athletes that miss out on their final year of playing. And I don't know. Well, we know they'll come out with some more information, and we just want to get that out. It'll come out in the newsletter in the next day, say 48 hours. The newsletter will be out. We'll have an article written in there about the intercollegiates.
So sorry to start the show off with a negative note, Mike.
Well, but we've got a couple of good notes, a couple of them that I want to mention. The 2021 National Outdoor Racquetball Championships, and those are good. July 8th through the 11th, Huntington Beach. If you get a chance, as I talked about before, that beautiful weather, I would love to hop a plane, come to Huntington Beach and play some racquetball. So if you get a chance, seems like that's a pretty good place to go.
I'm excited for it. I've got a couple friends in Huntington Beach right now, so the weather's great.
Yeah, I followed some matches on Facebook this last weekend, and it's hard to believe when it's 5 degrees below zero outside that it's that warm there, and
right.
Good for them.
Should be a great event.
Yep. The next one we have is the World Singles and Doubles Championships. Those are May 20th through the 23rd, coming up in Highland Ranch Rec Center in Denver, Colorado.
Yep, that's here.
Yeah. It'd be cold, but inside, come in, play some big-time racquetball. And it's an IRT, LPRT Tier 1. We had some questions about it being the World Singles and Doubles. If it was an IRF event, there was a notice put out. It's not an IRF event. It's not because it's any lack of support. The IRF supports all racquetball. It's just not an international IRF event. So go attend it. It's going to be a big event. Jim Heiser puts on an amazing event. He's been, as you know, involved in racquetball for a long time. One of the guys that really knows what he's doing, and he will put on an amazing event. So if you make it out, I've committed that I'm going to try and make it out there, that I will make it out there. Shouldn't say try, that I'm going to be out there for the event. Don't know that I'll be able to play in it, but I'm going to go out and shake some hands and talk about racquetball and watch some amazing racquetball with the.
I agree. I'm excited to drive up there too. I think it should be a really cool event.
That's a pretty short drive for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. But so in the light of those two big events, those are just the two of a few. I've been seeing a lot more events pop up. I really want to thank all the tournament directors for their hard work. We all know that the work that they do is what makes racquetball keep moving. Right. So just wanted to put a shout out to thank all the tournament directors. I know, Connor, you've been working with them a lot over the last year or so.
They're doing a great job. I mean, the emails and texts I've been getting, what are the regulations? How can I host this event? And some of these are really turning out pretty positive. And it's really cool to see some of these events, even though they're a little bit smaller, right. But get some of those events going and start to get the heartbeat of racquetball up a little bit.
And that's important as we come out of this pandemic, that the tournament directors are going to have a lot to do with how quickly we come out of this and how quickly the association gets back up to full speed in the tournaments and those type of things. And speaking of that, you've got a couple of things we just want to touch on. We talked a lot about them last episode, but if you just want to put a plug out for some of the initiatives we've got going on.
Yeah, we're still doing the free leagues, ladders, camps, and clinics. So I understand, I mean, obviously quarter 1, those first 3 months might be still very confusing. The regulations are still fairly tight all around the country. We're looking at almost I don't know, I'd say maybe 10 to 15% of regulations being lifted very slowly. And some of them are just stagnant right now. But we're pushing that free leagues, camps, clinics, ladders into quarter 2 as well. So if you're able to host a camp, a clinic, a league, and a ladder, shoot me an email. It's cshane@usaracquetball.com, and I will happily comp that for you. And then the same time frame, we're doing the buy one get one tournament sanctions. So you take care of one tournament, and I will happily work with you on another one. And that can be hosted anytime this year. So make sure that if you think you'll be able to host it, even if it's in quarter 3 and quarter 4, just let me know, and I'll make sure to comp it.
Absolutely. And if you've got any questions about the time frame or how the leagues and ladders and such work, reach out to Connor. Give me a call. We're happy to talk to you about it. We just want to find an easy way to get you into getting people back playing in your club, or leagues and ladders are a great way to connect everybody socially. So reach out. We're going to give those away or two, as long as we can keep people doing them and get people back on the court.
Yeah, agree.
All right. So our next topic, really great. This is one of my favorite parts of the Real Racquetball Show, has been since we started the show. I really love the Real Racquetball Champion. And this one has a real place in my heart. The winner of this month's Real Racquetball Champion is a gentleman I've known for probably, I don't know, 25 or 30 years. which I think makes it longer than you've been around, Connor. So
you had to say it.
Just throwing that in there. But this gentleman's from Belton, Missouri. His name's Larry Winn. Everybody that's had anything to do with racquetball in the Kansas City area knows Larry. Larry's been involved in running leagues, teaching clinics. Anybody and everybody that wanted to learn to play racquetball, Larry was there, and he was on a court teaching them how to play. So I'd love to welcome on to our show the February Real Racquetball champion, Larry Winn.
Hey, Larry.
Well, thank you. That's pretty amazing.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
And Mike is correct. We've known each other for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to think of when we first met, and I can't think that far back, Larry.
It's about 84, I think.
Yeah.
We played at Valley with Darryl Bell and some of those guys, some of the retired Chiefs players are playing there.
Yep.
And so
that was a long time ago and a lot of fun.
And a lot more courts were available too.
Yeah, they were out there. That was a fun time. Well, Larry, I just want to jump right in. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in racquetball and kind of why, because the whole concept of the racquetball champion is those individuals across the country. And if you had a chance to go back and look at some of the recipients that we've had so far, I think we've had, I don't know, 5 or 6 so far. I should know that probably in my head, but it's all about those individuals that really work to grow the game in a grassroots effort. And that's really what you've done all the time I've known you. And you've run leagues forever.
Well, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Tell us a little bit about how you started some of what you did.
In 97, at Prairie Life. That's where I began. And I got certified with Gary Mazeroff in the AmPro program. And I just took off from there, and people just flocked to the courts. And the most pleasurable part of it, though, was the juniors program. I've had a lot of fun working with the juniors, and they're pretty easy to work with at the ages 11 and 12. They're harder to get to the courts when they get to be 14, 15, and 16. And when they take away the courts, that's even more difficult. But I had 2 prominent juniors that, one was started as a 12-year-old, she's now 16, but can't play because there's no courts open.
Yeah.
And she's having to deal with school too. And the other one just turned 21 and finished some major surgery, but he'll be back indoors playing. So I'm rather happy about that.
So Larry, what do you think is maybe your most rewarding piece of coaching juniors?
Well, it's really heartening to see, let's say, a 14-year-old girl playing a 35-year-old man in a league play.
Yeah,
that's an entirely different dynamic than any other youth sports you might think about. Is where the youths are actually playing seasoned players, and it's I think it's good for the juniors, to be able to express themselves athletically, against an adult. And it's kind of like against their teachers, because they see every adult they're playing probably as a teacher.
Yeah. Right. That's very cool. Good to know.
Yeah. But it's just still enjoyable. And it's disheartening that they've locked the doors on the main club I've been playing at.
Right.
And you know how that goes. The others are skeleton players, or you might say 2 at a time, and there's different rules, and they're all pretty restrictive for good reason.
We're working on some things. We're not going to let it. We're just not going to let it lie, are we, Larry?
No, I think that they take a concerted effort, and you've kind of been spearheading that in this area, Mike.
I've got some things in the works, so we're going to keep working on it. Well, Larry, I'm going to
I really
Let's
thank
go.
you for this, Mike, for getting all this together, folks.
Well,
Yeah, Larry, you
very
deserve
much.
it. Sounds like.
I can thank you for for the Kansas City racquetball community, and I know I've seen you out playing. Just recently, it wasn't but what, a couple weeks ago, you were out playing outdoor racquetball with the outdoor racquetball group, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to blow some of the water off the courts to be able to play that day, but it got up to about 60 degrees in January. You can't walk away from that possibility.
No, it looked like there were a lot of people out there. I keep saying this, and I've got to get out and get playing outdoor. I really enjoy, and that group that you guys have kind of built together is just phenomenal. And one of the unique things that's made that grow that other people might be able to tag onto was they use a chat app on their phone, and they'll put out an app, or there's an outdoor racquetball Facebook group, and they'll put it out and tag everybody on it and say, look, we're going to be at this club or this location at whatever the time is, and everybody just shows up. So
and they all get their turns.
Yeah, so that's really cool. We love that. Stuart
We
just
had
put
Paula
a note up
and
that says
Jessica playing with us outdoors this summer, and that was a real treat for the folks.
Yeah, that was cool. I love that. But Larry calls it flash mob.
Well, thanks a bunch,
You bet.
for putting this together. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Larry. I'm sorry your award hasn't arrived yet. We shipped it over a week ago, and the post office said, well, we're just kind of slowed down right now.
This is plenty for me, my good guys.
Well, thank you very much, Larry.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Kansas City and the country, we can't thank you enough for all you've done for racquetball. So.
Thank you so much. Then
we'll talk to you soon, man.
All right. Goodbye, Larry.
Goodbye.
Talk to you soon. All right. What a neat guy.
Nice. I know, very cool guy. His background was pretty cool too. I was reading up some of the things he did. Very cool.
Yeah, Larry's you wouldn't know that about him. He's the most unassuming, quiet guy at the court, but he's a competitor on the court. He loves to compete. So, and even I really am hesitant to say at his age, but he gets out on the court and bangs around with all the guys, and it's really cool. So, all right, we need to move on because we've got a couple other big topics to talk about. Connor, I want to thank you for your help tonight, and really appreciate it. And we will talk again real soon.
Sure, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Bring on.
Hopefully next time I'll have better news.
Well, we will. Next show, March 1st show, you're on. All right. Our next topic is something that we've been working on for 6-7 months or so, and it's really taken off and had some really good momentum. And I wanted to bring this in and bring some special guests on. This is our 20x40 Sports Alliance. And I talked a little bit about this in the past, but what it is it's a group we're pulling together that's all of the sports and entities that use a 20x40 court, which is, some of our guests coming on. Our first guest I want to bring on is Matthew Krueger. He's the executive director of U.S. Handball. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
You bet. A colleague of his is Sam Esser. He's part of the staff with U.S. Handball. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having us.
You bet. And Sam, I've known since, again, boy, I'm aging myself with all these things I keep saying in the show. But I've known Sam since he was a baby. I knew his dad before. He played in all of our handball tournaments at the athletic club. And Sam's grew up to being a really accomplished handball player and went off to go to school. Where'd you go to school, Sam?
I went to Missouri State University, graduated from there, about 9 months ago now, and came down to Tucson in June and started working for Handball.
Yeah, what a great thing to do, huh? How cool is that?
It's a lot warmer here right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. You probably heard me talk about the weather here.
Mm-hmm.
And our last guest for this episode is Cheryl Kirk with USA Racquetball. She's a board member, longtime board member, IRF board also. Welcome to the show, Cheryl.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, Matt. Hey, Sam.
Hey,
How you
Cheryl.
doing, Cheryl?
Good.
The four of us with a few others, Connor, and some additional staff for the U.S. Handball, have all got together. We meet monthly to discuss ways that we can coordinate our efforts to grow and save courts in clubs. You heard Larry talk about all the courts we've lost in Kansas City. Sam, you probably know firsthand exactly where those courts used to be.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. So this group's got together to build on this. I'd love to, the whole idea was to get you on the show to talk a little bit about what your perspective is from a handball perspective on how you see this 20x40 alliance working and what you'd like to see come out of that. So Matthew, would you mind taking
Sure.
over and giving us your ideas?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. And I'd like to say the 20x40 court is something obviously we both share. The friendly rivalry of competing for court time and space, and obviously this pandemic has brought everything to light of we suddenly are seeing courts either closed permanently, and obviously that means less places to play for both of our sports. And we're trying to bring our activities to the forefront with club owners and club managers, showing them that these spaces are it's a pretty diverse space that a lot of different groups can use. In fact, I mean, my first step on a court was with racquetball until I played college handball. So it's something that we share, and fortunately, we were both able to come together on that. And I think spearheaded by our efforts to contact and reach out to you about a court directory, getting these courts across the country that are either open or will be open, or these prospective places that can host national events. And again, sharing that information together and utilizing that, partnering. And I think a buzzword we kept repeating back and forth that kept coming up was strength in numbers. And moving forward, all of us together collectively will have a bigger voice.
Exactly. And I think was kind of the idea behind the sports coming together. Was it's very difficult for us as just racquetball to go to an entity like LA Fitness is one that a lot of people know and deal with. To go to them and say, look, we have X number of players and we really want to focus on getting these courts open. Where if we add the numbers for handball to it and other sports, how do we? Does that get a bigger voice then? I don't know. And Sam, your perspective when as a college player coming out of college and then getting into the business side of U.S. handball, I'm sure that's probably added some perspective for you. I'm curious what your take on the 20x40 Alliance does and what racquetball and handball can do together and other sports. I've got a couple others I'm going to talk about here in just a second, but I'm curious what your perspective is on that.
Well, it's a great thing that we're working together. First and foremost, I mean, as you know, I grew up playing at the Overland Park Athletic Club, which had several racquetball players and handball players. We were used to sharing the courts with them, and it wasn't too bad. And too bad this alliance didn't form sooner. Maybe we could have kept those around. But even when I was at Missouri State, the handball team shares the courts with the racquetball team, and there were no issues there. And there's a lot of young players coming up. Connor mentioned that the collegiate racquetball has been canceled. We've unfortunately had to postpone ours, and that's too bad because it's such a great event. But we've been working with a lot of youth programs. We give out what we call first ace grants, and that's money to support youth handball, collegiate programs, city clubs, and we were able to give out several of those this year. And another piece of good news is we hosted a three-wall junior handball tournament here this year. 30 kids, all from Tucson. Fantastic event. And I'm just excited about the youth we have coming up in both sports, because I know racquetball has some good programs too. St. Louis being a hot spot for that. And that's why I think it's really important we're working together, because there is a future for our sports and we need to protect that future.
Yeah, great. Really. And I'm glad to hear that, that you had a junior event, even if it's just in Tucson. The fact that you're able to hold, right now, anything that you can hold somewhat organized is phenomenal to hear. Cheryl, we put together in this group one of the initiatives that we've kind of started working on that really excites me is the Club Insider magazine, and you've kind of taken that and run with it. And we've got an advertisement to show everybody. But if you'll kind of talk a little bit about what that initiative is and what it means to racquetball and handball and other sports.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to start by saying that one of the favorite things that I do each month is to get on a Zoom call with the U.S. handball folks.
Yeah.
That we have common ground. I've played racquetball for 44 years, and I remember a time when at the club I was at, we would vie for court space. I feel at this in the year 2021, I feel nothing but brotherhood and sisterhood for our handball friends and hopefully other sports who will join us to help our clubs realize that there is profitability, there is a competitive advantage in keeping the courts and programming the courts. So Mike mentioned an initiative that we're working on. It's I want to thank Luke St. Ange because Luke had given me an introduction to Norm and Justin Cates, who are the publishers of Club Insider, which is a very quality newsletter that comes out on a monthly basis. ClubInsiderOnline.com. You can get a look at their work, but Norm and Justin's roots go back to racquetball years and years ago. Norm is also a co-founder of IRSA, which is the International Health Racket and Sports Club Association. So Luke made the introduction. I spoke with them, talked with the Future of Racquetball group, talked with the Handball group, the Sports Alliance, and we thought it was a fine idea to be able to use the Club Insider to talk about saving courts, how they can be used profitably, how they can be programmed by people in their clubs who can use that space, fill up the courts in whatever that looks like. Yep. Racquetball, handball, paddleball, volleyball, and more. So we're pretty excited that this article the first article will make its debut on March 1st. And we saw the ad, we saw Mike's and Matt's picture on that ad, and there is a corresponding article that talks. It's a letter to the clubs from the court people. So it's a way of letting them know that we wish to help in any way we can in talking with them about keeping courts, saving courts for all the right reasons.
That's fantastic. That's such an important part that I believe is a part of this alliance that we're creating is how do we get more voices into the clubs to talk about the value of the courts. And I think we've signed a 6-month agreement, so we're going to have an ad and an article in all of those that we possibly can. We'll have an ad in every one of them and an article in probably all of them. We're going to try and write something for each one of them because it gets right in the hands of the owners and people that we want to talk to. So. Yeah, Mike. One
of the things that we have mentioned in this first article is the relationship with U.S. Handball, and also that we have put together some materials that are available on our website. Are totally usable for U.S. Handball and anyone else as well. We have no pride of authorship. It's about court programming. It's about helping clubs understand how they can better make the courts profitable. So there's a PowerPoint, there's a job description for a court programming coordinator, and there's the financial analysis. and it all sits on USA Racquetball's website as well, as being open for U.S. Handball. And if you look on tomorrow's newsletter, the Future of Racquetball group has links over to the website. Anyone can see these materials. Anyone can use them.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Appreciate you pointing that out, because that's really valuable information that the Future of Racquetball group has put together. It's another really strong group that's doing a lot of really good work. I want to talk about the U.S. Paddleball Association. I reached out to Henry Marquez, and he's agreed to join the 20x40 Alliance. So our next meeting we have, Matthew, we have Henry will be joining us.
Good.
I've sent an invite out to the American Volleyball Association, and I expect to hear back from them very soon. So hopefully we'll have them joining our upcoming meeting also. So
Nice.
Matthew, Sam, I can't thank you enough for taking time this evening to come join us. We really appreciate your insights on how handball and racquetball can work together. Any parting thoughts, Matt? Do you have a chance first?
You know what, Mike? Thanks for having us, Cheryl. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure, and I always thought this was really neat because our founder, Bob Kendler, also started the International Racquetball Association in 1969, and it was the actual publication. They were both all together. So it seems like it's kind of coming back full circle, and that's really exciting.
Well, you figure
To it.
great work they did before, and look at where it went. So maybe coming back and doing this again, we'll get back to that same spot again.
Nice.
All right. Well, Sam, Matthew, thank you very much. Cheryl, I think you're going to stay on. You're part of my next segment. So thank you very much. Have a great night, and we will talk to both of you again real soon.
Thanks, Mike.
You bet. Cheryl, that was great. I just really appreciate what those guys are doing with all the handball, and the work you mentioned, the meeting we have each month, and all the great people that racquetball has or handball has involved in that.
They're just like us.
It's just really been impressive that the passion and dedication that they have, just like we do, to figure out ways to get in clubs and talk to them and get more activity on the courts and incentivize more courts rather than closing courts. So I can't thank you enough for all the work you've done in the Future of Racquetball and also the 20x40 Alliance. So
Thank you, Mike. And
Yeah.
we'll thank Mike Grizz and Laura Pesic and Larry Hammerly for their participation as well. It's a good team.
absolutely, it takes a team. It's not anything any one of us is doing. Well, our next segment, and we're running overtime, so we're going to consider this as the tiebreaker. We're going to run some overtime here, and because this is a really important part, and we are not about to skip out on this. So we're going to welcome a couple more guests on. I want to welcome Cindy Tilbury, USA Racquetball board member, NMRA president. Welcome, Cindy.
Well,
The show. And you become a regular. You were on last week too, or last time. So
yeah,
great.
every week.
Yeah. And our next guest, part of the Happy Renew Year program, is Brian Anchetta. I'm sure most all of you know Brian. Brian's the president of the Oregon Racquetball Association. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming on with us, and thank all three of you for coming on. And I think what we're going to do is you guys are going to announce the top 10 winners from the giveaway program we had going on. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys and stop talking. So.
Oh, thank you, Mike. I'll chime in first. As we mentioned 2 weeks ago on this show, USA Racquetball got hit with the pandemic just like everybody else. This has meant no tournaments, no leagues, no ladders. We're all missing our sport greatly, and we're missing each other. True to our culture over many years, a membership has been seen more as a competitive license, and it actually did used to be called that. Being a USA Racquetball member over the past year has been out of sight, out of mind for many, and this has put the association at a real disadvantage. we understand the out of sight, out of mind part, but we're trying to bring back some awareness. So the bottom line is that to keep racquetball moving forward, we need racquetball players to regard USA Racquetball membership as an investment in the sport, whether or not a tournament's around the corner. So USA Racquetball and its committees have used this time to create value in various areas, and the membership committee created a first-time initiative to thank our current members, to create awareness, and hopefully get some folks back into the fold. So here's Brian Anchetta to give an update on Racquetball is Missing You initiative, and we have some fun news to share this evening.
Yeah, I'm excited. I get to talk about the fun stuff. But as for how this idea came together, it's no secret that racquetball, like Cheryl said, has been struggling, through the pandemic, like a lot of organizations have. And we just thought this would be kind of a fun way to keep our members engaged, thank them just for being loyal to us during this tough time. And that means a lot to us. It really, really means a lot. And along with that, it just keeps our awesome sponsors that we have. It keeps them in the limelight and keeps them viable. And lets them know also how much we appreciate them, because we will get through this and we want them to stay along with us. Of course, we could not do this alone, you guys. I mean, our committee was awesome. We just want to thank everyone who stepped up to make this possible. We couldn't do it without Cindy Tilbury, Rick Betts, who contributed the grand prize. We also want to thank our partners, our manufacturer partners, Gearbox, Head Pen, ProKenix, Racquetball World, Rollout for all their apparel. Special mention to board members Todd Boss, Steve Zarnicki, Cheryl Kurt, and Terry Rogers for their generous donations on their gift cards. We can't forget our racquetball partners. Our partners in crime are IRT, LPRT, NMRA, our WSMRA, and our War and our Three Ball associations. For their tournament entries, they were fantastic with that. USA Racquetball and Doug Gannum for their entry fees, and also their really cool prize of giving someone a spot with the US Open Pro Doubles, Pro-Am Doubles. Special thank you to Michelle and Daniel De La Rosa, and to Team USA members Rhonda Rachitz and Kalani Lawrence for their donation of time and merchandise to help grow the game. Really appreciate everybody there, you guys. And now let's get to the fun part. We get to announce some winners, and that would be Cindy.
Great. But right before we do that, who was eligible? We want to know who was eligible. So as you remember, we created this to generate some renewals and some new members, but we also wanted to thank our existing members too, especially, your lifetime. We didn't expect you to renew. So anybody that was a member as of February 10th, 2021 was eligible. So Terry, I think it was Terry and Cheryl and definitely Renee got together and picked the winners. How they did that, they generated a list of everybody that was a member as of February 10th, and they mixed up that list and they just took them in order from the randomly generated list. Then how will winners be notified? Well, certainly everyone will want to look at the Serving Up the newsletter that'll come out in the next 48 hours, and your a notice will be sent to your inbox, your email inbox, or just go straight to the USA Racquetball website. And the winners will receive a follow-up congratulatory email if they have an email address listed in their R2 profile. And that'll just happen in the next couple days. So let's talk about some winner names. So I hope you realize all these gifts are worth at least $100. So the first one we want to highlight is the US Open Pro-Am doubles entry. So this is a huge thing. Sophie Quarles from Missouri was the winner of that one. And now a couple of people won entries into any USA Racquetball championship that they want in the next couple of years. Peyton Nestor from Missouri and Fred Nichols from Missouri. And then the US Open entry, just playing in it, Daniel Clark from Missouri. Then the big Las Vegas three-wall ball world championship entry, Sadir Tata from Massachusetts. World Outdoor National Championships that we were just talking about in July, Huntington Beach, Joe Capozzoli from Pennsylvania. National Masters Racquetball Tournament entry. This person has a couple choices coming up the next couple of years. Eileen Cummings from California. I checked to make sure she's old enough to play. Women's Senior Masters Tournament entry. This one is a gentleman, so I'm sure ladies, you want to make note and start thinking of a good trade that you might do with Mark Hooks of Indiana to get this entry from Mark. So then the next category were gift card certificates, and there were quite a few, but the biggest one was a $200 Amazon gift card, went to Sarah Whiteside from Missouri. Next, you have a $100 Amazon gift card, Joey Serio from Mississippi. Todd Boss donated not only a $100 Amazon gift card, but also a session on his Pro Racquetball stats website. It's very fun to go through some of the stats with him. He's so knowledgeable. Edward Olszewski from Minnesota. And then Racquetball Warehouse donated $100. And Bonnie Wheeler from Virginia. She works with the collegiate kids down there. I'm sure she'll make good use of that. $100 Racket World gift certificate from Pat Bernardo in Albany. Okay, I'm going to try this name. Narayan Venakataramana. Whoops, I had it. Venakataramana.
I'm so happy you had to announce that one.
From California. And then another $100 Racket World gift certificate, Jim Schwartz from Virginia. Okay, so those are the gift certificates. Then our dear Racquetball sponsors put in some product packages. A Gearbox product package from Rafael Filippini, Mary Crambas from Illinois. A head pen product package goes to Ray Johnson in Connecticut. That's Doug Ganem, Ben Simons and his group. Oh yeah, I guess Doug retired. Ben Simons and Fran Davis and their group. And then ProKenix, Mike Martinez. And that goes, the lucky winner was Jack Hughes from Nevada, and I'm sure they will send that off to the Military Racquetball Federation, and it has a kind of a newer name, the Adaptive Group. And then we didn't mention it, but the drinkware category, that goes to Amada Gonzalez from Tennessee. So that's a great prize there. So do we have any breaking news on the grand prize winner?
Cindy, we do have breaking news on the grand prize winner. On behalf of our committee chair, Terry Rogers, and the whole committee, Terry couldn't be with us tonight. She worked so hard on this, so we thank her for that. I am excited to be the one to announce the grand prize winner. So a lucky person has won the Malibu racquetball trip. That includes domestic airfare for 2, 3 days, 4 nights accommodations, transportation to and from the airport, breakfast and dinner daily, and racquetball instruction with doubles play. And the winner is Glenn Martineau of New Braunfels, Texas. Here he is right here. Again,
treat him right.
Thanks to Rick Betts and Cindy Tilbury for the generous donation. And Glenn, I know you're going to have a great time. What wonderful news. Congratulations.
We're looking forward to it.
Congratulations again to all of the winners. And please keep your eye on your membership expiration date and stay current, everyone. Our sport is depending on every one of us. Mike, back over to you.
Fantastic. Congratulations to all of the winners. And I want to really put a special thanks out to everybody who put all that work into making this really work well. Cindy, Cheryl, Brian, your entire committee, you guys did a fantastic job. So thank you very much. And again, congratulations to all the winners and all of those that supported it by making all of the fantastic donations. Can't thank you enough. This has really been fun. So thank you very much, and have a great evening. And you guys get to relax a little bit and enjoy.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. All right. So let's wrap up the show. Our overtime is going long enough. But I really want to thank all of our guests tonight. Everybody did a fantastic job. I really appreciate all the work that's been put into all of the effort into the show. I want to we had a question come up about we've been working on, we've been talking a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes. I'm really have to say, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to be able to announce when, where, and all of those good things about the festival coming up. Unfortunately, we're still not quite under contract, so I'm going to hold off on that, but you will see some information coming out very soon. We won't hold off to the next show. If something breaks in the next day or two, we will get an announcement out right away. We might even put on a special edition show just to talk about what all we're doing. So look for that. Watch the USA Racquetball Facebook page. That's where we make most of our announcements on. I have a really cool announcement coming up for the next show, Game 14, March 1st. We have a very special guest co-host that's going to come on and help us talk about all of the things we have going on. And that special guest is going to be Maurice Miller from Georgia. So all of you that know Maurice know he's a really neat personality, passionate racquetball player. Georgia's been playing racquetball for quite some time through the pandemic. So I invited Maurice to come on the show, and we're going to put some passion into the racquetball world and talk about what's going on, all the things that are going on. So I want to thank Maurice in advance for coming on the show next episode for Game 14, March 1st, 8 o'clock Central Time. Be sure and tune in. Watch for the upcoming newsletter. It should be coming out tomorrow or the next day. We've got a lot of great things in there. I want to thank everybody for renewing your memberships, keeping it current. It keeps racquetball and USA Racquetball both doing well and being strong. So I can't thank you enough for taking your time and watching the show. We appreciate everybody's help, and we will apologize for it being in overtime, but like most games that go into overtime, it was worth the effort. So thank you very much. Have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing you on the court.